which rest punish to use.
Oh. Were you fighting a Jigglypuff?
I was last night.
Gotcha.
And then, like, I kind of locked up because I was sort of stuck between, do I go for the classic flashy option or the optimal option?
I feel like it's in that moment, if you want... So what's the flashy option here?
Charged F smash regrab, the Wobbles classic.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Okay.
And then the flashy option is desync Blizzard, regrab on the Blizzard, and then you can just do the normal Nobble.
I don't love the idea of giving Jigglypuff a chance to shake out, because, like, Blizzard, like, she can move on that. I would probably just take the F Smash, personally. I don't like the idea of gambling. Yeah. Alrighty, so I see that you sent me some matches, and I can see that, like, you labeled them, like, went very well, went decent, went poorly. So I guess I think maybe let's start with went decent and then move to went poorly and kind of compare contrast. Does that make some amount of sense, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So this was a late night ranked set where I was going up against the Peach.
Yep. That's what
just
I
in
had.
general. In general, in the most, I sort of like my goal for that practice session was slow it down, use my projectiles.
Okay. So with that in mind, let me just slow this game down just a touch.
Okay.
And what would you say? So, slow game down, use projectiles, makes sense. I see we've got blizzards coming out. You're defending the air with up air. This is good. Tell me about what happens here, because it feels like you get stuck here.
My expectation there was she was going to drop through the platform and do some sort of aerial on me. Gotcha. So I do an F smash to try to catch that.
Gotcha. So here's
because
yeah.
Like I'm immediately thinking, Peach is going to drop through the platform and nair me in an attempt to separate.
Okay. So let's say that she does. Let's say that she does that. The F smash connects. She goes over here. That makes some amount of sense. Can you up air and poke her without getting sucked into down smash here?
On Pokemon Stadium?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
It's a fairly low platform. If it was Battlefield or higher, I would say certainly. With such a low platform, I'd be uncertain.
That seems like an important thing to know, because, like, you see how this winds up getting us, like, punished, because we're just stuck in the end lag for so long, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be the first thing I'd kind of question. The other thing I'd be curious, and if you know this or not, like, totally fine, but can we just directly hit her? Like, what if we up smashed?
Up smash would not hit, no.
Okay, and we know that for sure, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if that's the case... Yeah, because she's, like, wave dashing across... Like, she's wave dashing across the platform, so I just wonder, like, was this the right tool for the right job? Like, was this the right tool for the right job? Because that's really, like, the only thing I'm really wondering here. Like, with her wave landing across here, like, can we do something better here? I think the up air will work, personally, but... Yeah. That said, because I think the big thing when we're, like, playing a style like the one you're describing, like, using our projectiles more, the one thing we don't want to have happen is we don't want to get stuck in our movement, as, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, like, we didn't have to, like, everything basically went downhill as soon as, as soon as we kind of committed to that F smash on a read. And I guess, like... Yeah, I'm wondering why you like. I guess the one thing I'm curious is, why did you think that she would come off, like, fall through the platform onto ice climbers and attack right away?
This is match 3. She had been playing aggressive the previous 2 matches.
Gotcha. So this is like, this is a playstyle read from previous games. Okay.
Correct.
Okay. And I assume that she did this quite a bit on. Pokemon, like, on Fountain of Dreams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you think that the level layout might have something to do with that?
Definitely could.
Yeah, because, like, I'm thinking
especially on Fountain of Dreams, the platforms are so variable, and Peach landing there is always going to be good for her.
Well, it's just so congested, right? Like, you're
Yeah.
constantly in each other's way. Like, you're constantly in each other's space for attacking. But, like, this is another, like, this F smash here as well. Like, what I think happens is that, like, these plays are really optimistic to me. And I think that, like, I wonder if there's something more productive we could be doing at these kinds of distances. Because, like, I'm almost wondering, how do you even possibly hit her with this? You see what I mean?
Well, expecting an immediately aggressive option given the percent and stock difference.
Okay, so you're looking at her percent or your percent?
Both, and the stock difference.
Okay.
I'm at mid percent. Any aerial of hers will knock down here. She has a stock advantage at high percent. If she gets hit, it's no biggie. So I'm thinking for her, making a committal option here, she stands to gain a lot and lose very little.
Okay. So I'd contest that. I would actually contest that, because I see the logic I see the logic you have here. Like, it makes sense if we, to some degree. The one thing I'd comment, though, is, you said that this is match point. How do we know that they're not going to, like, because it's match point, I would argue that it also makes a lot of sense for the Peach player to preserve their stock. Because they don't need a ton, like, with you being at mid percent, they don't really need, like, a specific hit, really, to, like, to push their advantage, right? Like, this could be, like, a weak hit aerial into a down smash, this could be a strong hit aerial, this could be a dash attack pop-up, this could be a down tilt, this could be a raw down smash. This can be, like, 6 different things, and, like, all of them are fine. So I'd almost make the case that it makes sense exactly what she does. Like, taking to the air and then, like, observing the situation and coming in with this fair after. Like, to me, this is this is textbook. This is, like, if I were teaching someone the matchup, that's exactly what I would tell them to do there. Do you see
Makes sense.
Yeah. So I think that what we have going on here is we are trying to, like, synthesize too much. Like, we're trying to be too predictive with our hypothesis. Because the point of the hypothesis isn't that we grab all that information. We're just looking at our percent.
Just at our percent, okay.
Yeah, why do you think we're only looking at our percent?
Well, because we should, looking at the opponent's percent, we should be looking at what options work rather than what's going to happen.
Yeah, so, like, what, like, expand on that. So, like, we
look at, okay, then we look at our percent to determine what the opponent is likely to do, and we look at their percent to determine what we can do to them.
See, I would not have included we look at their percent. Not for this exercise. No.
Okay.
Because we already know, like, if you... We already know what our tools work. What tools work on the opponent, right? So we're not really structured. Like, we kind of intuitively know. Like, with Peach at 99, we know that up smash kills her. We know that down throw kills her. We know that down smash when DI'd poorly kills her. We know that, like, back air sets up a good edge guard, can potentially kill at the edge of the stage. We know all these things because we play this character.
Yeah.
What we don't know is what they want. That's the big key here. The point of, like when we check the percents, it's fine to check their percent if you've lost track of it, but the main thing here is their percent. It's all about them. Because this is what we're trying to do here is we're trying to determine what moves make sense for them to hit. And it's not that we're trying to, like, predict how they're going to do it. We're just making a hypothesis on what move they're going to go for. So I'd say at 52, like, with us being at, like, 52, I'd say that forward air from Peach makes a ton of sense. It's powerful, it separates us effectively, very safe, very good move to go for. Like, I think this is, like, absolutely, like, this is spot on. The other move I would guess would be, like, Nair, because it does the same thing, but it has less range, so is therefore less safe. Like, she has to kind of get in, which is actually how you get which is basically, like, how you win the scrap with her, because she goes for an air, it doesn't quite, like, do what it's supposed to do. You're a little too far, she then tries to follow up on it, you block it, you kill her. Like, you counter hit and kill her off of that. But, like, the point here is that, like, with you being at 54, you see she's still spacing aerials. She's still kind of, like, sticking to the plan that we kind of, like, sticking to the plan. It makes a ton of sense for her to do, for her to go for this sort of thing. So, like, with her being at 65... Sorry, with you being at 65, What do you think that she's gonna go for? What do you think she's gonna go for?
As I mentioned before, any aerial, forward, nair, float at a certain height and get the dare. Any of those realistically would be good options.
Yeah, which one do you think she's gonna do though? Like
Most likely forward air.
Okay, what about at 92? What about now? Does it change?
At 92, most likely a nair.
Yeah, because she wants to just kind of like bulldoze us and hit us a little bit more. We see more nairs coming out as a result of it. So this is how I would do it. Because like her stock, do you think that this would be different if we were at even stocks? Do you think she'd be doing anything differently here?
No.
Right.
So she gets her kills the same way.
Precisely. I would say that like the only times that like the stock differential really matters is like very specific micro interactions and like has to do with your hesitation on certain things. But like we kind of know what the difference looks like, and it deals with a different type of information than the one we're trying to ascertain by looking at our damage. By looking at our damage, we're really concerned only with what. We're not really worrying about how. We are counting on our intuition and such to kind of figure out the how part, because that's going to be based more about like we're going to have more indicators on that. We're going to have things about like how they move, how they set up, how they posture, but like that's all stuff that we can take without necessarily needing to count on like their stock count and make predictions off that, because like we don't really know if they're we don't want to get into psychological factors like how they play with a stock lead or a stock behind if we can help it.
That's a bit much.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not saying those things don't have patterns. It's more that, like, those are the types of patterns that we kind of pick up as we fight them anyway. But the game state, i.e. what damage we're at, what, what stage we're on, and therefore what, moves they have are really powerful and good to hit, those things are pretty static. Like, those are things that we can anticipate and play them. And if we get it wrong, again, the example I always liken to is if Marth wants to grab a character at 0, and because we're aware of that, he winds up having to do 3 down tilts to get the opponent out of early game. Was that person really wrong? No, because they just made Marth do 3 hits of work to get him into the fair percent, which is phenomenal. So the goal of this style of thinking is not to be right. The purpose of it is more to understand. It's more just to allow us to interact with our opponent in a more concrete way. Mm-hmm. And by making predictions, not predictions, by allowing us to play around certain things as needed. And if we don't, if it turns out that they're doing something else, then for us to be able to identify that and adjust accordingly. Mm. Here, let's look at this last stock. So with us being at 7, what does she want?
Initial percents, likely a down tilt, down smash, anything that's a hard hit here.
Yeah, we just saw her do a falling fair. All of this makes perfect sense. She floats into range. She goes for nair down smash. She goes for I think she goes for she sets up she sets up her movement, but then I kind of has to land awkwardly away. She's not really positioned to be able to fair. So then you just rush in and kill her because she's probably looking for a fair there, but she's just out of position for it. So this all makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah. This is where I'm kind of saying where it went decently. So at the start it was rough and it smoothed out by the end. This was a blowout.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. With us being at 8%, what does she want? We were saying a big hit?
The big hits, yeah.
And know what? She's done a bunch of smash attacks, fairs. I would say that we're spot on with that. So let's take a look at how we're defending against these big hits. Because I think that this is really where that is. There's that forward smash. Again, this is you see how these are spots where we really want to be doing other stuff. Because that F smash has gotten us killed here. That is why we lose this Nana and this stock basically.
Yeah.
All of this is basically from that one. It's crazy, but
one interaction.
Yeah, this is all from us F smashing and thinking that she's gonna fall onto it. I'd almost ask you, so if she wants to get a big hit, how often does she just how often would you say she forward airs reactively, i.e. like floats in the air, looks at what we're doing, waits for a cue, then comes in, versus how often would you say that she like just rips it right away? Because she does. She does both.
On the platform, tends to more rip. In neutral, tends to be more reaction based.
Okay, and what would you say the percentages are in the neutral spot? Not like with the platform, but like if you're like say fighting her in this middle area here.
70 reactively, 30 rip.
Okay, so why are we F smashing like below her preemptively?
Makes sense.
Yeah, like if we know that she's like looking to reactively do things a lot there, then we absolutely want to be doing safer things. Like that just makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like right this is exactly what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like she takes to the air. You're thinking that she's gonna rush in and do something, but again, like we've established that like
she's reactively.
Yeah, exactly. So like she sees us do this, and then kaboom. But imagine if this had been short hop fair. Right? Still covers a similar area. We land, we fast, like we would be landing at this point.
Yeah.
And we'd be like dashing out of the way at this point. Or like we could even potentially like drift into her and try to clip her out of this. Like there's so much more, like we need to be using I think that like what would really enhance what you're doing here is if we like leaned into our aerials a little more here or backed off, because in this spot, we really, like, the area that we need to be covering is not, like, the area immediately, like, above and around us. This F-Smash works really well on characters who short hop and work in predictable arcs. But, like, the reality is that she is unique because she can just operate directly above where our hitbox is. Like, we really need to be able to, like, hit above this line. So, like, what are some tools? So, aside from up air, because up air is the obvious answer, but, like, aside from up air, what are some things that hit above this, that hit at or above this line?
Nair.
Nair? Okay.
Nair, and then the dare we were mentioning a few lessons ago.
Are we so how are we doing the jump here?
So for the down air, it would be just jump up vertically and then drift forward at the apex.
I mean full hop or short hop?
Full hop.
Okay. But see, so this
full hop straight up.
Gotcha. So I don't disagree with the play, but I think that and Nair would also be a full hop, right?
Yeah, and then drift into her at the apex or some point after it.
Right. So we're like looking at like a jump like this or this. So here's my concern. With her jumping up like this, like full hopping like this, like jumping above us like this, we were originally forward smashing because we thought she would be here, right? So like if she's here right now, because she tucks her body in, so like she's here. But we thought that she would be here. So my question here is, like, I worry that we're then going to lose our coverage on this spot. So this is why I actually really like fair here. Because by jumping to here, we can kind of like not as effectively as, say, we don't do it as effectively as like Nair and Dare do, but like we still have that like coverage from here to here. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like to me, this is really valuable. Having this kind of coverage from this spot to this spot is really, really key, because it ensures that we can, like, with the top of this, we can potentially hit her here, and with the bottom of it, we can hit her if she stays here.
Mm-hmm.
So does that make some amount of sense?
It does, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, it's not that I think that this F smash is bad, it's more that like the F smash isn't really the right tool for the job we have here. Like, we need to, like, if we're covering the high and low position, we need, like, this line is, like, we have to be able to, like, hit above this line. Hit above and below this line.
Yeah. If this was, say, a Falco, the F smash would probably work better.
Yeah, because his line is a lot, like, if this is his, like, kind of, like, you must be this high to jump, like, this high to ride kind of line, Falco's is, like, significantly easier to work with, because his is down here.
Yeah, and all of a sudden that F smash is now providing a lot more frontal and vertical coverage.
Yeah, this would be amazing versus Fox, this would be amazing versus Sheik, this would work versus Ganon, this would work versus Falcon, this would work versus Marth. It would work less well versus Luigi. It would probably not work as well versus Jigglypuff, because she tends to full hop for her initiation. So you can see the kind of Samus, hit or miss, depends on the Samus. But you can kind of see the type of character that, like, this, where, like, this is, like Like, and we can actually kind of summarize this as like puff, peach, etc.
The floaties.
Yeah. And then like this one is more like FFers, quick fallers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
yeah. I'm not 100% sure this would go well on Chic in that sort of like brown line area.
I know why you're thinking that. I will tell you it will work. I'm going to tell you the secret on why it works here. Okay. Chic's air mobility sucks. So remember, like, because she goes up at such a fixed position, she doesn't really have any drift to get away from the top of the hitbox if you get under her. That's the reason it works. So, like, the other thing here is that, like, it's also good to trade into her legs. Because, like, when she sticks her legs out for her back air and stuff, it's also really good to trade your F smash into her legs. So,
that's fair. I'm just immediately thinking of the auto cancel forward air.
Yeah. Well, the other thing here is, like, again, this has to do with, like, here. You know what?
Yeah.
Like, this has to do with her arc. But, like, yeah, you can... I think you're kind of just putting it together as we kind of, like, think about it more. Because it's, like...
Yeah.
It only covers one side of her. And really what we're... Like, a lot of times with Chic, it's good to go through her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then all of a sudden this works. It's just you can't really do that with Peach because she just comes down anyway and she's above you, right? So, like, this is why the extra height is so important. Now, it worked really well.
It's why the approach... recognizing the approach angles.
And here, this is why, like, one thing I'm going to point out here. So here, she's in a much more awkward position because she has the platform here. She's just burned a bunch of her float... resources. She can't really get a good attack angle coming at you because of the way she's facing. Like, her back air doesn't line up into you as well as... This is why this winds up working. So, like, with your position under the platform here, this works way better for you. Like, now, if I was the Peach, I would have stopped... I would have fallen to the ground when you're missing your F smash over here and then gotten back to the air to play a more favorable neutral. Like, that's the counterplay. But, like, again, this is where, like, the lower lag on, like, say, up airs and stuff can be, like, up airs and fairs can be really valuable, because then you just L-cancel and can challenge me over here when I'm on the ground. Whereas, if you're stuck in F-slash...
lower committal options to certain angles, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. On the whole, though, I will say that this looks a lot cleaned up. Like, the overall, like, that up, like, the way that you're using your up airs is better. The space and positions you're taking.
There, can we please investigate that moment there?
Yeah.
Why did that one not work?
You just, like, barely missed her.
I swear to God.
I know.
Okay, but was the idea correct, though, and it was just a hair too late?
So, this is one of the things I don't like about F-Smash against her. She's so skinny that, like, Okay, hear me out here. What if we just up smash here?
That could have worked.
Because, like, I get what you're saying here, because, like, if we take this moment, like, what is the hitbox on this thing? Let me just grab Fight Core real quick. So, Ices. Cool. So, we have Ices here. So their F smash is only has 2 active frames, and we don't have Nana here either.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Like, I guess, like, to me, I'm thinking,
like, this is the first active frame.
This to me just reeks of Z-axis.
Yeah. Well, because her legs are tucked in here, right? So, like, it's probably... Yeah, we probably got Z-axis here.
Yeah,
because your hitbox should be out right now from, like, here to here, basically.
Yeah.
Like, if we grab this, there should be something here. And then where are her legs? Her legs, I think, are, like, here, basically. Like, they're tucked in underneath the dress. Like, this is her actual hurt box, basically.
Yeah, she's tucked into the stage, sort of, I think.
Yeah. So, and then with your hitbox being here... Yeah, I think this might actually be, like, a case of straight-up Z-axis. Because, like, I'm thinking, like, with how this is, like, how the alignment is. And, like, this looks like it should either be very close to working or work. Because, like, if we compare this to the actual hitbox... Like, this is pretty close, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, if anything, it should be a bit bigger.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that we just got Z-axis here. I think if we up smash here, this might just be... I think that up smash might just be the move here, if we want to contest
Can we look at the hitbox for up smash real quick?
Yeah, of course. Let's grab that, because I think that up smash is, like... So, like, starts here, and then it's just, like, this big thing around you in front of you.
Yeah, but it doesn't reach the full extent of the mallet.
That's true. At the same time, like, it's like it covers the pretty big space above you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I feel like with where she is, this definitely would probably, like, I would expect that to hit, like, your up smash is kind of like a bubble like this, sort of, right? And I would definitely expect this. I think that with the higher active frames, I think it's definitely gonna, like, make better contact with her here.
For a moment like this, I'd probably, like, want to play around with the new with the new Uncle Punch.
Yeah, either that or, like, honestly, like, if I, like, real talk, I mean, like, I hate having to reuse this solution. But just short up airing her, like just going across like.
No,
this.
I mean the new Uncle Punch has SLP takeover.
Oh.
I could go right before I wave dash in and regain control in that instant.
Oh, I did not know that was a feature. Okay.
Yeah, I haven't downloaded and played around with that yet, but yeah, it is a feature now that you can just upload an SLP and take over one of the characters at any given time.
Yeah. I would say, honestly, as a homework assignment, I'm going to say play around with that moment. Let me get you the timestamp, the exact timestamp.
Okay.
So, I'm going to say from this moment on, so, like, you come out of the wave dash here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that this is going to be the situation we're going to, like, this is the start of the situation. So I'm going to give it to you, I'm going to give this to you, and, because with the in-game time, you should be able to find this.
Yeah, just go to 555, and I'd probably start there where I'm in the end lag of the wave dash.
Yeah. So key takeaways. Figure out what to do here. Figure out what to do here in takeover. And then bracket. We think that, like, I'm thinking up smash. No, up smash makes sense. Short up air makes sense. Is there anything else that makes sense here?
Not really. Maybe like a walk forward. Short hop fair.
How do you feel about turning around and and setting up back air? Because we know that she's committed for, like, some amount of time with this down air. So I'm thinking, like, what if we, like, what if we turned here, like, went here, turned around, and, like, came up with back air? You see what I mean?
Yeah. My only concern there is that she's not falling to the ground and.
Why does that
matter? Would commit to another aerial.
Yeah, but, like, our back air can beat her nair and fair.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah, like, we're just trying to, like, outspace her with our disjoint, right? So, like, we're just basically going to this spot because we have the platform protecting us and, like, stopping her from doing certain approach angles. And if she comes down, then we just, like, do it away from her. And if she comes up here, then we just do it, we just full hop it and, like, smack her in the head. Like, so I would say that this is, like, I'd say, like bear, some kind of bear, because I think that, like, I think that there's value in, like, looking into that as a solution here. Yeah, see, like, a lot of these ones here. So, like, you see the jump. This is kind of what I mean by, like, the roll of back air. See, like, we come up here with these up airs, but I'm almost like, if we had just, like, jumped more, like, to be more spaced with, like, back air or nair to, like, kind of, like, cut in at her horizontally, could that have worked better? You see what I mean?
Yes, though predictive is where this comes in. I have angel invincibility. I did not expect her to come in for a forward air while I'm invincible.
True. But, like, here's my question. Isn't the back air higher reward anyway?
Yes, but it's more to the side and wouldn't have hit.
Okay. So, I guess where I'm saying here is, why are we doing this up here to begin with? Because, to me, like, okay, so, like, I think, yeah, okay, got it. So, my question here is, why are we doing, like, I'll try to reframe this so it's, like, it's more accurate to what I'm getting at. Why are we doing this up here to start?
covering the edge of the airspace right around like the right side of that platform, which I know she's gonna want to land on.
Right, but she could also just, like, she could very easily float here, though, which is kind of what she does. So, my question here is, if we're invincible anyway, why do we need to cover this so aggressively? Why can't we use our intangibility, like, why can't we use our invincibility to check what's going on?
I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
You're right.
Because if we jump to this spot and we're not committed, and she goes to this same spot because she's running away from us, this is just double jump, like, from here. Or when we're like a little bit lower around here, this is where we double jump back air. Because then that we just knock her out of her float.
Yeah.
So like what I'm saying here is like, and she doesn't have her double jump either. So like this, like I'm thinking if we don't up air here and we see her do this double jump,
we could just fall to side platform and wait for her to commit to an option.
Well, no, we just attack her. We just attack her because we don't fall to the side platform. Well, we might fall but it's just in service of lining up the back air. Because we're probably using our double jump to hit this. Do you see what I mean? Like we'd go to here. In fact, I'm gonna say this is another spot to play around with.
Okay.
Because like this, I think that this concept of like not swinging right away because we feel like we have to cover something, like really the big concept that I feel like that we're missing from what you're describing is we don't understand how our, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, but like I get the feeling that you don't really understand the spot that your character covers just by being there.
Just by being there, no, like.
That sounds weird, and that sounds weird and not right to you, doesn't it?
Because the character doesn't have a hitbox to hurt box.
Right, but we still have access to our hitboxes when we go into a given location. That's the point. So, like here, by us being here, we don't have to necessarily throw out the back air in order for us to control this back air spot. We don't necessarily have to throw out the back air. Us jumping is often enough for us to have that influence. It's implicit, which means it's not like a firm form of control, but we still influence this space by jumping here. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. This feels like mind games.
It is mind games. It is absolutely mind games.
I've been warned against it.
Why?
I was told before that it's like a rabbit hole that's not worth digging into.
That is wrong. That is I'm like, there's very few things that I will say that are like straight up wrong. This is one of them. Let me ask you, why do you think Fox is the most powerful? Why do you think Fox, Marth, Jigglypuff are three of the most powerful, and Captain Falcon for that matter, are four of the most powerful characters in the game? Like when we're thinking of the top 6 characters, those are like top 7 characters. Those are basically always in the list, right?
Yeah, because of the space they control.
Right, but do they have to necessarily be swinging in order to do that? Like, if we think about Marth here, right? Do I not control the space in front of me because I don't have a hitbox here? What about the space?
You're threatening it.
Right. So why is it any different for climbers?
That's fair. Like my immediate reaction to that was because they're a worse character, but that's not a good answer.
No, because fucking Ness uses this concept. Like, Ness is trash, and he still uses this. Because, like, what do you think causes people to, like, play outside of his double jump zones? Like,
the fear of the approaching fair and dare.
Right, and that's why shit like this works. Like, where it's like, all of a sudden he gets in there. Right? Because this can't exist without this. So, absolutely, like, I would argue that the characters who have explicit control tools, which ice climbers are a part of, because they have the ability to actually put out hitboxes that control like the same zone, like the same size of zones that like other characters with our more movement-based covers, I would still say that like they have an implicit component to them. It's just they also have the luxury of shit like this. But usually, the disadvantage to this style of setup is you have to do way more work to get it online, because you have to actually commit to an attack. This is part of why, like, people generally, I'd argue people generally consider Falco tougher to play than Fox. It's because Fox, to do that same impact thing that Falco's doing there to control space and set up his approach, he just does this. He's just like, well, what am I doing? Who knows? Whereas for Falco to do that, he has to, like, actually go through the effort of, like, picking up his gun, getting into, like, the right space, making sure he's not gonna get intercepted, and then he gets to do this, and then he gets to do this, and then he gets to do this, and, like, this is so much harder than just being like, blah, blah, movement, blah, like, but even still, this is so powerful with these characters. Like, the implicit threats, when we have them, when we have them established, are so powerful that they allow us to do things like they allow us to, like, basically threaten without actually doing anything. That's like,
so that's kind of the purpose of the tomahawk, then.
Absolutely, it is the purpose of the tomahawk. It is the purpose. It's why this thing is so good, because, like, this is like, I could do it, but I don't have to. Like, I could do this blizzard, but I don't have to. Like, that's really where its power comes from. Does this make more sense?
Yes.
Because it's like, I could do the Nana P&J. I could do this. I could, but I don't have to. And it's like, because of that, the opponent then has to make a decision. Because, like, so... God, oh my God, I wish I had this clip saved, because it was something that happened when... have you been following Zane with his, like, everyone's his Grandmaster thing?
Grandmaster run, yes.
Did you see him fight the Link player Cranky last night? This would have been really late, so maybe you might have been asleep if you're responsible. Yeah. Okay. So, when he was fighting, he tried to, like, tomahawk this man, like, 4 times, and none of them worked. Because, and what he said was, he doesn't fold to anything. And he wound up losing that set. But that is, like, Zane has, like, it takes so much willpower and so much discipline to correctly call when somebody is doing this shit or this shit
that they're not going to do anything with it.
Yeah, because they've just, like, think of it this way. They've just gone through all the effort of setting this up. Why wouldn't they do it, right? But this is where, like, the second level mind game comes in, because it's like, oh, because I don't need to. And, like,
because you're gonna respect that option no matter what I do.
Right, and then let's, like, so why, like, if I don't have to, why would I, right? So it's just, there you go. But this is what I'm getting at, like, you just being here when the peach is, like, if the peach is here, okay, make her jump. We'll make her jump for realism. If you're invincible, if you're coming back with, like, invincibility, because, they gets to hit lag. Whatever, doesn't matter, we know what we're talking about. Like, you just jumping here covers so much, because you see, like, you could back air here, you could double jump and back and go higher, you could do this, you could do that, like, you could do this. And that's the point. That's where all the scariness comes from, because it's not in the fact that you are doing something, it's all the things that play could be. And the thing is, you get that by just aligning yourselves. This is where, like, where I think that there's a fear with, like, this type of playstyle, because, like, this is basically what makes Hungrybox good. Like, unironically, this is what makes Hungrybox good. Because what do you think his, like, not his non-movement acceleration back airs, like the ones that are just not good maintenance habits, what do you think they are? A lot of them are just, like, him posturing for things and then just taking them as they come up. So much of it is covering options, but what he does is actually really hard, because it's, like, it involves reactions and, like, it's tricky. But yeah, your character covers so much by just its presence.
Okay.
I feel like this was a very different direction than what we intended for today. But, like, I think this is good.
It was a good one, because, I mean, I'm a Slippy kid, and the thing that I've been pushed away is avoid the mind game.
Right. But the mind game, like the mind games, the intuitive side of the game has persisted for a long time and remains one of the big dividing lines between the great players and the good players for a very, very, very good reason. It's because it's really what allows you to do the impossible things in this game. Like, it's what allows you to, like, make decisions that the opponent can't predict and therefore can't counter. Like, it's really, like, can't counter in real time. Without that component, without that, like, all good warfare is based, this is really just, like, all good warfare is based on deception. And if you are always showing your hand, how can you possibly deceive someone? Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's just...
No,
like, as I was taught to play the game, it's just, like, think about yourself, your character, your options. If you try to calculate your opponent and play that, what are they thinking and what are they afraid of, it sort of tends to spiral out of control.
I want you to do something for me.
Sure.
I want you to try playing Marth for me.
Okay.
I want you to play like we'll get this all set up. We'll do the sync. Or actually no, with you we've found that your internet's good, so we can just screen share. So yeah, let's get that going. And I want you to try playing Marth in Unranked for just a few games.
Oh boy. Okay.
You got this. Like, you know how to play Marth, right? If not, then that's okay. That's like perfectly fine.
Ice Climbers rewires your brain.
That's okay. We will learn. So let me know when you're in the game. Perfect. So we're gonna go into Unranked, and we're gonna play Marth. We're just gonna try it. Like, you know how to move with him and stuff, right? He's like one frame. He's one frame, like... Or actually, what's your secondary? Do you have a secondary?
I don't.
Okay, that's okay.
I started Fox. I went Ices.
That's okay. Let's see what we got. Because I want us to try doing something outside of our comfort zone. Okay. And I want you to like use your just fight him. Just do it. You just like pay attention to like what's going on and try to like figure it out. Yeah. Not bad. Because the goal, like, the goal is to just, like... This got, like, we don't have experience, we don't know how to play this character, so we're gonna have to use our intuition more. We don't have, the luxury of structure with us here, so we have to kind of, like, figure it out. And that's, I think, what we need. I think we need some of those human elements in here. We need something that isn't just, like... We need something that doesn't have as much of a rule book. So, like, let's something that might work there. Counter down B, because like it protects us from harm. True. It sounds silly, but like, yeah, if we don't have any of our recovery resources, why not? Like, just hit the button. So you'll noticing that like when we do early aerials with this character, he can attack us out of shield. So we probably need to just like delay our aerials more and we want to do them after, like, we want to input after fast falling. Beautiful. There we go. I know we missed the fast fall input, but that's probably just a hit lag thing. Like, we will get the hang of this.
Yeah.
So one thing with defense with him that'll help you a lot, hold away. So like, we want to hold away because we want to fall into a spot where we can like falling fair. Because it's all about like, can we falling fair? Because if we can falling fair away from most characters, they can't really punish us even out of our combos. Like, I'm sure you've seen that with Marth in general, right? See like how we double jumped but then got shined. We want to just we want to try not to double jump out of disadvantage. We want to just like DI away and fall with our fair if possible, because that is what's going to allow us to like get away from him. So you see, like, so as we're doing this, what are you noticing about, like, amazing. He thought you were going to, like, recover into him, and then you moved away from him. Just barely, and then you tricked him by going on stage. Beautiful. You see how many little things you're able to, like, how you're able to win these little interactions by just playing off his, like, expectation just a little bit. And this is the character we don't even play. Like, you're able to do, like, and you can see that, like, this guy probably has sunk way more hours into his Falco than you have with your Marth, and here you are just, like, beating the shit out of him. because we just are applying a little bit of intuition to a
Oh,
sling.
right.
Yeah, a little
Crouch
intuition.
power shields. I remember
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
That's how I first learned how to power shield, with Marth crouching.
Yeah. So then, like, all we're doing is applying a little intuition to, like, this character. And he might beat us. Like, he might. He's like, we're at Marthritis percent. This is the hard part of this matchup. But, you know what? Like, this is competitive. And it's perfect. I think if we hog him, we win. Okay, never mind. Oh, did we win off up smash? Let's fucking go.
How did that kill?
Let's fight him
That
one
was
more.
Icy's. That was pure Icy's habit.
Yeah, let's fight him one more time.
Okay, give me 1 second to turn on the audio, because, like, it is blasting my ears.
That's okay. How did that feel, though?
Oh, weird.
Weird how?
I've been told before that I'm a mid-level Marth in an Icy's body, but I'm starting to get it.
Tell me what that means to you. After this game.
Okay.
We can, right now, let's beat this guy a second time. Let's lock in. So remember, like, let's just kind of like just feel how the character's like short hop and stuff works when we have when we have some breathing room after killing this guy, and we'll just like or when we respawn, it's okay, because we just need to be a little bit more clean about our follow through on some of these short hop aerials, but that's okay. We can do that. We have the ability. Beautiful. So we want to get the short hop fast fall. Like, short hop fast fall is, like, a really key one, because we want to do it. You see how, like, safe that aerial was coming down? But if we had swung early when we probably wanted to, then, like, that wouldn't have worked. So it is the opponent is aware of that. Marth has to win a lot of 50-50s, or set up himself to not lose to, like, certain outcomes when he fights. Because if the opponent just attacks Marth...
That there is... I jumped and immediately didn't commit to an option, but he dropped shield and I just aerialed him.
Mm-hmm. And there, like, in another one, you jumped up, and because he, like, was already in the air and falling on you with an attack, his attack, like, your delayed aerial didn't come out in time, so he was able to win. But this is what I mean when I say, like, so much of this game's fighting is implicit. Like, the fact that I could do my thing immediately causes the opponent to do something, which then means that my late aerial works. This is really why early and late aerial mix-ups are a thing, because one of them counters the opponent for acting immediately, and the other counters the opponent for acting late. This is why shields are so much of this, of how we interact with our opponent in this game, is based on this idea. Do you see how, are you starting to, like, feel that a little bit now?
Yeah, because of how my attacks are hitting him, and he's a little different.
Yeah. And I think that one of the things that happens with Ices, because you have 2 hits, is that you kind of, like, miss some of this. Not all of it. They still, like, they still use this. But because they're so their emphasis is on grab and, like, explicit control, like with their projectiles, we don't have to fight them again. This is, I think, this was good, I think, for our purposes.
Okay. That was the first time I've ever actually played Marth, like, in a match.
And you won your first game with Marth. Let's go.
I'm shocked.
Why are you shocked?
Because I don't, like...
Why are you shocked?
I don't touch this character.
That's okay. Why does that matter? I played Roy today, and I beat someone with Roy. Like, it's fine. My Roy is nasty, though. Like, anyway, actually, I will send you a clip of my Roy while we are talking about this. So, like, talk to me. So, what is it that when people have told you that you are, like, a mid-level, like, Marth trapped in an Icy's body, what does that mean to you? Like, what are they getting at?
The first thing that comes to my mind is I sort of throw out an attack that occupies a lot of space, and I hope you fall into it.
That could be a lot of characters, though.
Yeah.
That could be Sheik.
Yeah.
But, like, I think that is it possible that it's more that your, like, focus on catching people for entering certain zones is a very Marth-esque thing?
Maybe, because, like, a lot of my early aspect was catching people committing the wrong mistake and grabbing them and killing them.
Yeah. So, like, let's think about Marth for a second. So, like, try doing your fair at the while falling down. When you're descending. Perfect. Now add the fast fall right after you enter the fair. Perfect. Now try to do it before you enter the fair. So it's like the fair only comes out when you're descending. Yeah, perfect. Like those are those like super efficient like scary ass fairs that like Zane and Kadoran and Ossify do. Like those are like those are the money makers. Those are like the ones that beat tournaments that like cover like in platform platform and the ground that cover like the fox illusioning at us and to the ledge. Like those are the money maker fairs. And you can see like, but the thing is, you have the entire time that he's going up that are like that he's vulnerable. You see that, right?
Yeah.
So like, what do you think? How do you think Ossify and Zane and Co. compensate for that weakness? Because they can't do anything about that weakness. Like it's always going to be there. What are some things, some concrete things that they do to like alleviate that?
The drift,
right?
Microspacing.
Right. So they like move out of the way of like an immediate threat. And then what do you think happens when the opponent sees them moving away out of that threat? What do you think the opponent does?
They'll attempt an overshoot.
Perhaps. They could also get close and try to punish the landing.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, what if they drift into them at that point? Like, what if they just don't drift back so much? Like, what if they go in place and drift slightly forward?
Slightly forward.
Yeah, because like remember, if they're planning on overshoot, like on whiff punishing, and they're like basing it off of the fact that like they're doing them away normally, it probably screws with them if suddenly Marth is slightly like from his like jump in place drift back, he suddenly jumps in place and drifts forward.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see how that works?
Yes.
So what are we learning about? Let's tie this to like this idea of like implicit control. So what we have here, like, yeah, let's be ice climbers. Yeah, you can be climbers here. So what do you think? I would say that the best analog for Marth's fair with these characters is their back air.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is their main footsie tool. Now, while they do not, because of how they operate, they have the luxury of an attack that they can do pretty much instantly. That still auto cancels and has good landing data. So they don't have to worry about the high-low mix-up the way that Marth does in the same way. But they still have the drift component. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because they don't have...
This connects to, like, the partial jumps we were doing. These.
Yes. Yes. But now let's add it... But because they have less range, other players can, like, outrange them. So how do we, like, tie this all together? What's their solution out of this, like, jump for somebody, say, like... Oh, I don't know, Ganondorf. Because, like, we would back air versus Ganon sometimes, but, like, you know, what if he's like, trying to, like, maneuver around us and outspace us with his, you know, like, if he's trying to outspace...
Punch.
Yeah, if he's trying to, like, fair us by, like, double jumping, like, short hop double jumping and trying to go around, operate around us, how do we modify our short hop? Because really this is where the short hop is where everything originates from. How do we modify that to, like, get him for that? Like, how do we...
There's a whole, like, lower forward, so I would jump, drift forward, and then aerial, like, on the rising edge.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
Like,
yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, so we can potentially, like, jump into him more. We could also double jump. If he's using his double jump to, like, avoid our back air, we could also, like, short hop and then double jump to meet him in the air with our, like, with back air on the, like, rising double jump back air. Like that. Like, you see what I mean? There's so much, like, that like, from that short hop back air, from that short hop, so much evolves in terms of how the two characters, like, interact with each other. And while we swing some of the time, sometimes we don't. Because by not swinging, we open the door for all these other things. Because the other thing that you might do is, if you don't swing, you can also disengage. You could waveland away. Like, short hop, fast fall, waveland away. And so, like, this is where... And that allows us to reset to neutral, like, to a safe distance, where we can potentially then, like, ice block, where we can blizzard, we can use the platform. Like, we have other options that be... So... I guess what I'm trying to get at is the implicit stuff is not something that we can work past, but it is something to overcome in some ways, because you know, a concrete solution, like the explicit control characters, a lot of what's giving them their second wind, I think, in this metagame, is the fact that with all this, like, fucking around with dashes and jumps and drifts and, like, all this, like, could I, but maybe I won't, well, characters like Sheik and Falco actually get a bit of life by being able to store real resources during that time, or, like, create real traps with their projectiles. So, like, that's kind of, I think, why Peach is making a bit of a comeback. But, like...
Real Pichu?
Peach.
Oh, Peach, yeah.
Yeah, because she's got her turnip and her, like, floats and stuff, right? So, like, those are real forms of concrete advantage that they generate because Peach's float stance is very strong. Her turnip is very strong. Falco's laser controls a lane. Sheik's needles control a slightly more situational lane, but still a lane nonetheless, and can be built and can be stored for burst damage, too. So, like, this is part of, I think, why Donkey Kong is making, like, is kind of, like, is on the rise. It's, like, these implicit... I'm not touching you, like, play patterns ultimately kind of, like, loop around and allow for, like, more explicit forms of control that, like, can seize the game from them a lot of, like, leeway. Like, they give them a lot of room to exist. But that doesn't mean that we're exempt from having to use them ourselves, because we don't always have the luxury of the time needed to set those things up. And I think that is something that I'd really encourage you to connect with more. So I don't know how to turn this into a good takeaway, but I do think that, like, I would honestly recommend just trying to play a few other characters that operate in a slightly more conventional way, and, like, pay attention to how that feels and, like, what's needed for them to get those spacings down. I'd say Marth is a great one. I'd say Sheik and Fox are also great choices too. And then see what, like, then just try to take that to your climbers and see what that looks like, and see how that informs how you look at the situations differently. Because I think that, like, we need to expand the scope of how you see the game, and I think this is a good way to do it.
Okay.
Does it sound good?
Yeah. Let's wrap up with one Fox game.
Hell yeah, let's do it. Let's you know what? We're gonna revisit our old bane.
Yep, it's been 18 months.
Crazy Kev versus Hammer Time. Let's go. Let's dunk this man. Don't be afraid of him.
I just need to get reacquainted with the character.
No, you don't. Just, like, pedal to the metal. Let's go. Crazy. Like, you don't know what Kev's capable. He's crazy. Like, he'll just...
What did he just do?
He'll kill himself here, but then he's gonna try to Falcon Punch you. Like, there's no stopping Kev.
Jesus, okay.
But it's different, isn't it? It feels... you know what? When I first started playing Sheik after playing Climbers, I always felt kind of naked in certain matchups, like Luigi, because of how fast he was. I didn't have, like, the cube in front of me, like, all the time. Do you feel something like that?
Yeah.
This is good.
I don't have like a second character there to just cover my bad habits.
But you know what? This is exactly what I'm hoping for. Because, like, acquainting with... Because, like, this will make, I think, your Sopo better. This, I think, will give you... Because, like, really, we need insight into, like, how we operate without the cover of, like, Like, really, like, the way you're playing him, I would actually liken you more to a Falco player. Because, to me, what you're doing is you're trying to, like, do what Fiction does. Well, or what Fiction used to do. Which is, like, always have the laser when initiating. But the reality is we can't always have the laser when we initiate. So I think that, like, trying a few other characters, like, trying some more conventional characters who have, like, more conditional lasers, like Sheik, or who don't have lasers at all, like Marth and Fox. Fox is okay. Just believe, just trust me on this one. It's not the same. But
well, yeah, it's not, because it doesn't have the...
Exactly. It doesn't, like, occupy time for the opponent. It just inflicts damage. Because that's really what a laser does. It's like, that's what those projectiles do. They occupy time, commitment. They provoke. So I think that this is good. Try to become friends with that feeling of, like, sort of, like, nakedness or, like, exposedness, because it's really the key to, like, understanding this implicit threat. Because it's like, it really comes down to, like, understanding that there's, like, by being exposed, the opponent is also incentivized to go for certain things. And this will
There's
also...
a portion. There's a portion of the game I sort of like was limiting myself off from.
Exactly. So, can I count on you to continue working on this?
Yes.
Amazing. We're at time, but you got this. I'm gonna say Sheik.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to play 4 games with Sheik, 4 games with Fox, 4 games with Marth. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Take care, Frost. You got this. Let me know how
Thank
it
you.
goes, and if you need any pointers on any of them, or like if you find yourself not connecting with it because you just don't really get how they work, just hit me up. I can give you a quick rundown of them. That's totally fine. But I do encourage you to try playing those first 4 games yourself. Okay?
Okay.
Amazing. Take care.
Have a good one.